Alright, welcome back from that short break. So I want us to conclude beat making using LMMS. We shall go ahead and in our next classes to do melody making and other effects that we can bring here. But tonight I just want us to get done with this, and we're going to have an assignment at the end of this class. It's going to be very interesting. So let me just remind you of the beat that we created together rather. This is it. So you can do this by yourself, and it will be very interesting. Now I wanted to show you another way of making beats. So let us go back to the songwriter or the song editor. The window of the song editor, as you can see, this is our song editor window. We can maximize it or minimize it, but it's all the same. Now, as you can see, we had beat loop 1 and beat 0 or beat stroke baseline 0, but we could, instead of taking an instrument to the beat stroke baseline editor, we could actually bring an instrument directly to the song editor. But if we bring it directly to the song editor, it means we shall not use the beat baseline. We shall not use the beat stroke baseline editor to write this particular beat or the particular pattern. What we shall use the piano roll. For example, let me try this. Okay, no, that's too much. So assuming I'm looking for a loop, I want to make a loop out of a snare drum. I can also drag it directly, instead of taking it to the beat stroke baseline like the way we have been doing it. Instead of bringing it here, I can actually just do it from the song editor. I'll just drag it and drop it at the song editor. You realize that it comes here directly. Now after coming here, when we click here, it will select. You can see it's still gray. It can't go to light blue like this because we have not written any beat actually. So what we need to do is to write the beat. If we double click it, instead of opening the beat stroke baseline editor, it will open the piano roll. So ladies and gentlemen, allow me to talk about the piano roll briefly. We shall talk more about the piano roll in our next lesson when we come to melody making. Yeah, so let's click one of these keys. I'm sure we have all looked at the piano. Even if you don't know how to play the piano, don't worry, we're going to understand this together. But for now, we're going to use the piano to make the beat. So you see, you can listen. That's what we have, the different keys, but it's the same snare drum. So we can choose like this one. You can see it's very short. It's actually very short, but we can enlarge it. If we can click another one here, so you realize. So here we go. So that is the simple snare drum that we have created. This time around, not using the beat stroke baseline editor, but we have used the piano roll. We can, whenever we write notes in the piano roll, we can write it by left clicking, or when we right click, we delete it. We write it left clicking, we delete it with right clicking. So as you can see down here, it has velocity notes or note velocity. The note, like the note of, in piano we call them notes, but we are still dealing with beats, so it's actually not right to call beats, to call those percussions in notes. So we can actually reduce the velocity of these notes or these percussions. If we reduce it, you can hear the let's reduce the first one, and now this is what we will hear. So you see, when you reduce it, it becomes like, let me say, you're reducing the volume when you do that. Okay, you're reducing the volume. So that's basically how I can also do the same thing I did in the beat stroke baseline editor. I'm not going to talk much about the piano roll because it's not yet its time, but we're going to discuss it in our next video. So allow me go back to my beat stroke baseline editor. Now let me, you can see all these patterns. I've already written it. Let me play it again for you. Now I can choose, for example, I can choose the kicker. Let me choose kick hard 01. Kick hard 01. I can decide to open this very instrument or very percussion, that is kick hard 01. I open it in the piano roll and I edit it in the piano roll. We're going to discuss more of this in our next class, how to use the piano roll. But if I click on here, it gives me option of clone this track, remove this track, fix master, we're going to do all the things. So there are still a lot of things that we're going to learn in our next classes, but today I wanted just to show briefly how best we can make some beats again in the piano roll. So come to a step whereby you have what you have selected in the pattern. Right click, it gives you options. The first option is to open that instrument in the piano roll. So if I select it, you can see it has opened that instrument in the piano roll. Now this is our piano roll. I can go ahead and play. Now this is it. So that is the other kick hard 01. I hope you remember. So this is it. Now the reason why I wanted to show you how to open it in the piano roll is because you can actually adjust or work or create a variation in the pitch of a drum. You may have one drum. Now back those days, for us when we were young in the village, you know, we played these local drums. Now me, I used to love music when I was young. If you want to create a pitch, a different pitch using the same instrument, you can hold part of the drum so that you have less part to play. When you play, it's the same drum, but it will come at a different pitch. For example, this is the original pitch of this drum, but we can play it at a lower pitch, or it's the same drum. So we can actually adjust it to another pitch. So we just left click and we hold it and we drag it to where we want. So let us leave it to where it was at first. Now I want us to just do some adjustment. So let us leave the first one where it is. Then the second one, let us adjust it to like here. Then listen to how it sounds. So you realize there's a difference. So I'm just going to create some life or put some life on our beats by doing that. One up, one down, one up, one down, like that. Now listen to how it sounds. Now don't worry about these icons you're seeing up, because we are going to discuss them in our next class. That is how to use the piano roll. But for now, I just wanted to show you how you can create a variation in the pitch of a percussion of an instrument in a beat or bass line. I told you about these ones down. These are the volumes, what we call them velocity. So I can increase. If I increase, it means that very last one there, it will sound with a higher volume. So, but for percussions or for the case of bass drum, it's always advisable to keep it constant. But assuming there are snare drums or shakers or what, you can adjust the volume here. Now you're going to realize that we are actually having a lot of volumes around. You can adjust the volume from here. You can adjust the volume from the beat stroke bass line. You can adjust the volume from the song editor. You can adjust the volume also from where? From the mixer here. So it's actually too much volume. But so you have to be very careful with the way you're going to adjust your volume. So ladies and gentlemen, you remember I was working on this. I opened it in the piano roll and I adjusted it, the pitch, in this way, and it sounded like. So now let us go back to the beat stroke bass line and we listen to its effects, how it sounds now. So if you have a monitor headphones, you realize there's a difference. If you're using your the default speaker of the laptop, maybe you may not hear the difference, but there's a very big difference in the bass of the drum. Okay, so that's basically what you can do. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to go so much into that, because in our next class we shall talk about purely this piano roll. We shall be learning piano roll. So our class is going to end here for today, but I want to give us a very simple assignment. The assignment is very, very simple. Yeah, so our assignment for today, I want you to choose your best gene of the song. Gene, like the type of music you love most. Here we were using an example of what were we using? Okay, you can choose another gene. We have been you can choose reggae. We have been trying to use dancehall. We used a BPM of 98. So what if you had chosen a BPM of like 8? That would be for reggae. So around reggae there we would choose, and so you can hear, you know. So I want you to choose the gene. Now Christians, we're here, you know, we have worshippers in this group, so you can choose a very low tempo for the worships and you make the beat. So that's our assignment for today. Choose your best gene of the song. please, I request if we could leave dancehall out, because we have been using dancehall for our practices. Just choose another genre. For example, hip hop. You can choose Latin pop. You can choose Afrobeat. You can choose those slow worships. You can choose any genre you want. Set the tempo. It's the tempo that will determine the type of the beat that you're going to make. I want you to choose your genre of the song that you're going to make, and then open your beat stroke baseline editor, create a pattern. In other words, create the beat. After creating an overall beat, make sure you include loops. I showed you what loops are. I showed you, for example, this one, the first one here, it was my loop. Very simple, like that. That was my simple loop. So you can make your loop, and after doing all those things in the beat stroke baseline editor, you come to the song editor and at least create some pattern. Actually, what I'm trying to say is create the song using your beat, just the beat, the instrumentals only. We're not going to do any melody tonight. Just create a loop, create part of the beat, create maybe another loop, then another beat, like that. And after putting it together, I want you to go ahead and export it to MP3. After exporting it to MP3, you send it on WhatsApp, on our WhatsApp, and we shall go through it. In case you have any questions, please don't forget to ask. We are always available. We shall discuss more in the group. Remember, you're supposed to make a beat of your choice. After that, you save it. After saving, make sure you export it. After exporting, you send it for marking. Thank you so much. It's been an honor being with you tonight for tonight's class. Don't forget to like our Facebook page, that is Agape Media Uganda. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel, please. I'm just requesting, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss the videos that we keep sending. Every time we post a class video, you will get an alert every time because when you subscribe and you also choose the option of notification, you'll always be notified whenever we post a video. So please do that right away, and we shall meet in our next class as we fully learn how to use the piano roll. Now in the piano roll, we shall be learning how to make actually the melody of the song. In other words, in our next class, we shall be making a song, like a real song. I told you a song like, let me just give you a sample of the songs that we can make. We can make a song like this. In our next class, we shall be making a song like, alright. Now in our next class, we shall make a song like that. So this is what I was talking about. I want you to make a loop. Forget about this the melody line for the bass and what other ones. I just want you, in this assignment, just make these beats like this one and the loop together. Then you just save and export and send it for marking. Now if let me actually okay, let me do that. I want to mute the rest and have only the loop and the beats. So in your assignment, this is something that I want it to be like this. So very simple. That's the only thing I want. I just need the beats. Please don't do melody today. Melody, we are doing it in our next class. Please remember, finish the assignment and send it. I love you so much. May God bless you. My name is Luke Davis from Agape Media. Have a blessed and a wonderful time.